We make it easy to vote, but we make it hard to cheat. In our state, you need a driver's license. You can get a state-issued ID card for free at our DMV offices. If you're a veteran, you can use your veterans card. But we make it easy to vote.
Was Governor Scott Walker describing Wisconsin's voter ID law that was in effect for the first time this year in a presidential election. The problem is that it's not necessarily that easy. For example, try getting a free ID card from the DMV if you live in Sauk City, Wisconsin, where the DMV office is open only on the 5th Wednesday of any month. In 2016, only 4 months, March, June, August, and November, have 5 Wednesdays. And if one of those 4 days doesn't work out for you this year, well then, you got to make the 24-mile drive to the DMV in Madison. And often, what can seem relatively small inconveniences like that are enough to keep people from getting an idea, from casting a ballot. So, why did the Republican-led Wisconsin legislature institute a voter ID requirement? Did it have something to do with the fact that voter ID laws tend to disproportionately impact students and people of color who are more likely to vote for Democrats? Earlier this week, Wisconsin Representative Glenn Grothman appeared to admit the naked political goal.
You know that a lot of Republicans since 1984 in the presidential races have not been able to win in Wisconsin. Why would it be any different for Ted Cruz or a Donald Trump?
Well, I think Hillary Clinton is about the weakest candidate the Democrats have ever put up. And now we have photo ID. And I think photo ID is going to make a little bit of a difference as well.
Mr. Grothman was booked twice for this show, yesterday and today, and both times he canceled his appearance. Today, we got another window into why Wisconsin Republicans passed this law from a man named Todd Allbaugh, who served as chief of staff to a Republican state senator in Wisconsin. Allbaugh says he was there when the law was conceived in 2011. In a Facebook post this week, he wrote, "You want to know why I left the Republican Party as it exists today? I was in the closed Senate Republican caucus when the final round of multiple voter ID bills was being discussed. A handful of the GOP senators were giddy about the ramifications and literally singled out the prospects of suppressing minority and college voters." Joining me now is the man who wrote that post, Todd Allbaugh, former chief of staff to retired Republican Wisconsin State Senator Dale Schultz. And Mr. Allbaugh, why did you feel compelled to write about this experience?
Hey, Chris. Honestly, it was out of frustration. You kind of forget after you're out of the Capitol building for a little while how this all works, social media. And it really became one of my employees, a young man who moved out here from California late last year. 21-year-old guy, 22-year-old guy, and never really been active in politics before. And he was feeling the burn and was all ready to vote for Bernie, and went to register the day before and found out. And here, I'm a guy who used to work at the Capitol. I was there when this was written. I didn't know now in Wisconsin, you have to have either your original birth certificate, a naturalization paper, or a valid U.S. passport just in order to get a driver's license. So say if you live in Dubuque and you move to Platteville, Wisconsin, basically 15 miles across the Mississippi River, you can't just take your Iowa driver's license and change it out for a Wisconsin one. You got to dig out your birth certificate. So this guy's birth certificate is back in Orange County, California. Well, that's not going to get there in a day. So he couldn't vote. And quite frankly, it ticked me off. It incensed me. I was there when this wacky bill was conceived, and I saw the real world ramification. And it really bothered me. It really ticked me off. And I put it on my Facebook post, and here I am talking to you.
Well, when and I appreciate it tremendously. When you say, giddy, I mean, I think the argument that gets made in public, except the mask slips a few times, like Mr. Grothman, is that we want to get rid of cheating, we want to get rid of fraud. The most cynical interpretation is this will, at the margins, help Republicans, because at the margins, it puts obstacles in front of people most likely to vote for Democrats. You're saying that the Republicans understood that.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm somebody, it was interesting you showed that clip of former President Reagan just before I came on. That was the first time I got involved in politics. I was in Otis Scott's 5th grade class at Downton Elementary School in Richland Center, about 20 miles from Sauk City in southwest Wisconsin. I was 11, 12 years old in 1980 and got involved for the first time. Ronald Reagan, then Bob Caston, the U.S. Senator, running for the first time, and former Congressman Steve Gunderson won. And I thought, hey, this is easy. And I got involved as a young person. I was excited. And so I've been a Republican for a long time. It was that moment, Chris, in that room, in the Senate Republican caucus, when I heard people, a party that I had fought for over 30 years of my life, actually giddy and happy and talking about how we can take people's constitutional rights away, or at least impede them, in order to hang on to power. My God, it used to be when I was involved in the 1980s and 1990s, when you had governors like Tommy George Thompson in this state, when you had people like Scott Klug in Congress, when you had people like Steve Gunderson and Dale Schultz in the state Senate. We talked about ideas. We fought for ideas because our ideas were better. We thought we could move Wisconsin forward with that sort of thing. And now you have a group of people in the state legislature, particularly in the Senate Republican caucus, who want to impede people's voting rights. That's the point where I said, I can't do it anymore. I can't be a Republican. I can't keep going to caucuses because this party no longer represents me and what I believe in. I mean, it used to be these people in the Capitol forget about Robert M. fighting Bob La Follette. He was a Republican. His wife, Belle Case La Follette, moved women's suffrage forward in the state. Republicans used to fight for voting rights, and here they were taking it away. So, yes, the point is, this was a poignant point in my life. I remember it very clearly, and certainly the point in that room that day was, how do we do this quickly? Because there was a lot of recalls going on in Wisconsin that time. How do we do it quickly so that we can make sure that we hang on to power in the future?
Todd Allbaugh, thank you so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.